It's a brand new day. I'm your host, Taylor Weber from Taylor Talks. This is the Midwestern Perspective, brought to you by Understanding Productions. And always remember, of course, to live your brand. Now, what does it mean to live your brand? This is my intro, saying hello to all of you and letting you know what this channel is going to bring. I don't exactly know, but of course I'll grow, and you'll see in the show how I do this. There are several things that I've researched and sort of built my own perspective through, and I've had it used to be just based on belief and trust and what I learned as a child, but well, then of course Donald Trump was elected, and that sent me down a spiral, as it did many people. I know this as well. As uh, you went one way or the other. You either spiraled out of control, or you were awoken, and so you either became woke or you were awoken. And the difference is, one is you yourself solidify your ideas and you believe in them regardless of what other people tell you. And that's being woke. Being awoken is being awakened by somebody else. Most people believe you can't wake yourself up, something wakes you up. And for most people, it's going to be God. It's going to be somebody you follow, somebody who says something that you latch on to and you hear. And for me, it was kind of both. So I have been awoken, and I've been on this journey for a long, long time. But then there are some views that, from my own childhood and from my own interaction with other people, it's based off of my own experiences. And so that's why it's called the Midwestern Perspective, because a lot of our ideas come from the coast, good or bad, but they come from the coast. And I genuinely think that the last true Americans are here in the Midwest, because we haven't been oversaturated, we haven't been overregulated, we haven't done all these things. The one thing that we have done is we're sort of an old timey America, just because we have to be. We have a not so dense population. All the new stuff starts at the coast and works its way in. And then we select what we want and don't want. But with the internet, I'm seeing a lot of coast ideologies, not ideologies, but thinkings start spreading very rapidly. So it moved me to want to make a channel to sort of speak on the Midwestern's behalf. And I know I'm a 91 Leo millennial, of course. So that's why I'm inviting, you know, I'm inviting everyone. Most of my friends are in the Midwest, and I'm inviting you guys to be a part of the discussion, to change me when I'm wrong, to challenge my own beliefs, so that I can either correct my statement or explain it better. Whoa, that was a big noise. Something just went down. Holy cow. Hold on, folks. So I live in the ghetto. I guess we learned that. Huge explosion just went off. I'm not sure what that was. Big bang. It's not a theory, though. It actually happened. I saw it. It was self-evident. So, back to what I was saying. The Midwest is the last remaining Americans. Everybody else has been indoctrinated, and we have too, to be honest. The public school system, it was universal, and it really terrorized me and a lot of people around me. Some people have not been awoken, but woke, reinforcing what they learned in public school, failing to think for themselves. And I think that is the most important thing that we can do, is to think for ourselves. And a lot of times you can hear something that sounds very genuine and makes sense to you in your mind, but you must never definitively say one way or the other the first time you hear something, because you need to pray about it, you need to ponder over it, and you need to research it. Only believe what is self-evident to you, and I think that is the most important thing, and that is going to be the most overall message in my videos, is know that one thing is for sure, is that God is real. Everything else after that can be changed. And it took me a while to realize that. I had my doubts and all of these things. And I'm still overcoming a lot of the destruction I've caused through my own unbelief, lack of belief. But, excuse me. But that is what is most important in my eyes. So, over the coming years, I've said I believed in one thing more to just get a reaction and to gauge other people's reaction. It's called I'm just thinking of this now. It's called a sonar belief, not a belief, but a sonar stance. So what you do is you say a stance, like you believe it 100%, or you have a thought about it, and it sort of sends out a signal, and in doing that, it bounces off something, and then what you get back is where you can learn. And it's not always about the topic, but about the person you're speaking to in itself. So the thing I'm talking about is the flat earth concept. I don't know if the world is a globe. I strongly suspect that it is. However, I have read information on the flat earth that has made me wonder. So I don't believe one way or the other, because it's not self-evident to me. But I go to certain conversations, depending on the person, to say 100% we live in a globe, and it matters, because it doesn't really matter, because the only thing that does matter is that statement, God is real. God is real. That's a whole other conversation. And there are certain topics that I may shy away from with the YouTube guidelines and everything like that, because I don't want to get banned. So oftentimes when having a conversation with somebody else, which I hope to do on this platform, it's very hard with my limited resources. You have to have sort of a virtual speakers, and that's hard to get input from a video screen that will also be fed into the recording. It's a whole huge thing that I'm still trying to figure out, and it is expensive. That's why I have Tyrone the microphone here. He is not great, but he gets the job done for now. I can upgrade as I go along. Another huge bang. This is freaky. I'm not sure if it's an explosion or if it's I think it has to do with the trains. I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's the trains. But that one was even closer. So yeah, so there's that. So you have your sonar arguments. And I've been doing that for years. Gauging somebody's reaction because I'm fascinated with people and the human mind and everything like this. Not on a scientific level, but just on a self-evident level. So I don't necessarily know a lot, and that's where I'm hoping my guests and people who comment and share articles and stuff like that will help. But I have a basic morality, basic moral compass that I believe I have solidified now. And there is one thing I need to do left to get it, but it will come, and I feel like I have a solid foundation in which I can base my arguments and my own thoughts without me putting out false information. But anything you hear on this channel, even me saying that think for yourself, should be questioned. Shouldn't be. But I encourage you to do that with everything I say, not believe me 100%, and know that I don't know everything. I'm just giving my perspective. And back to the reason why I call it the Midwestern perspective. The Midwestern perspective is very the last Americans and all that. So I think it's very important because we have a lot to say. We have a lot that is right and that our country needs to get back to. We're the flyover states because we're considered backwards or... Oh, I know what it is. It's a football game. NC's playing. Go Stangs. So we require that certain things have to hold true. But now we're losing that. And one of the main things that I've seen and researched and found out about myself is that this world is becoming very female, and it's destroying our country. And I know that's going to cause backlash, and I just ask that you do your own research, look into it, ask me questions, and think freely about it. And instead of just having an emotional reaction to it, think about it logically. Say, maybe I've been trained over my entire childhood, over my entire education to believe that this is a certain thing is true. And I know it's very hard for any human to say I am wrong, and especially about everything, to say I'm wrong on how I decide things. And there's a lot of us who don't even care to look. We just go on believing and think and trust in that wherever I'm getting my information, that's correct. And he wouldn't or she wouldn't be pointing me in a direction that's wrong. What would be the point of that, right? So, the society has become very female driven. We've gotten away from logic and rationale and morality even. Because you cannot have because nowhere in morality is emotion accepted. We've become very emotional. And me included, until I become awoken. I still have my fallbacks, of course. But I can notice when I'm doing it. Maybe not right away, but I can look back and say, well, I was wrong. So let's go to this article here by Jesse Lee Peterson, this great man. This guy right here says, "Why Christians Are Losing Their Country," by Jesse Lee Peterson. America is a Christian nation, but that fact has been under attack by the children of the lie. The left has pushed immorality to the point we have so-called same-sex marriage, so-called transgender nonsense, trampling the rights of Christians. People of color and women join the attack on freedom of speech and our rights to self-defense. Good people are accused of hate speech, punished for telling the truth in public or even in private. Christians, men, and especially white people are under attack. Christians are forced to bake gay cakes for homosexuals pretending to get married. Men are falsely accused of sexual harassment, sexual assault, or of being child molesters, and they're not allowed to say the women are lying. Children are abused by women, even killed in the womb, and the men can't do anything to protect his children. White people are called racist just for loving their country, for telling the truth about people of color, or for standing up for white people. A decade ago, the fallen Messiah, Barack Obama, claimed America is no longer a Christian nation. He pushed homosexuality and transgender madness and took up for Muslims at every opportunity. He was the first feminist president and loved abortion. It's a sad reality there. Obama attacked whites and police, making blacks feel justified in their anger and false victimhood. He brought Black Lives Matter to the White House, a group worse than the KKK, founded by black lesbians, homosexuals, and white social justice warriors. They killed the souls of black people by pushing anger, and their attacks on police resulted in an increase of murders around the country, but not in the Midwestern as much. You cannot be a Christian and support the Democrat Party. Not after Obama. They've only grown more radical, electing far-left Muslims, homosexuals, and women in order to attack real men. President Trump, Donald Trump, represents everything they hate: the goodness of America, the straight, white, conservative, Christian man of power who built this country. But leftists don't want America to be made great again, so they go after all males, white people, and Christians in order to take down Trump. One thing that Jesse Lee Peterson is not talking about is about the Marxist ideology. And when you boil everything down, which I encourage you to do about every topic, every happening, is to boil it down and to wonder, what is this really about? And so all the BLM, Antifa, all of these things, it all can be boiled down to the Marxist takeover. And I encourage you all to look into that. And even these BLM lesbians, as Jesse Lee Peterson says, iconically, not ironically, he talks about how they're fat black lesbians, but also how they openly said that they are Marxist organizers. And I think it says it in their biography if you go to their website, and they may have taken it down after being exposed for what they truly are. So make no mistake that this is the Marxist takeover. And if you watch Yuri Bezmenov, he came from Russia and predicted everything that's happening. Maybe not instance by instance, but the overall happenings. Excuse me. So, watch one of his videos. I think the one about where he's teaching a class on it, he goes really in depth about it, and he exposes the people who were part of it. One of their main things that they have to do in order to do this takeover is to destroy the nuclear family. which is what makes society great. Um, they have to destroy the nuclear family and eliminate God. Because if you see everybody being atheists, they've got no moral foundation. They've got nowhere to revert back to look. And then at that point, they're worshiping the devil because you can only do one or the other. You can't remain out of it. So that's part of their thing, is to destroy God. And you see it all around. It's insane how you can promote every other religion except for the one that built America. Christianity is under such attack. It's slammed and slandered and all kinds of things. It's very, very disturbing. But these are the things that are part of the Marxist platform, and it's really taken hold. And all these Antifa and BLM people, through the public school system, through mass media, all of these things, through movies, anything like that, they are indoctrinated. I was indoctrinated. And it's very, very apparent how these things are taking place. And once you see it, you can't not see it. But they're pushing all these same ideologies. I challenge you to find one Antifa, one somebody, anybody from the left who does believe in God, really. Because you can say you believe in God, but that's just to get away from an argument, or and I said I believed in God because that was my upbringing. I said I believed in God, and I just was unsure about it, and I had my doubts and all these things, but I did think He exists, and I do think that's what ended up saving me. It did happen. It allowed for me to come back and to see things for what they were. So, it's not about necessarily hate or BLM or Antifa. It's all can be boiled down to Marxist. And then if you let it boil down from there, it's just plain evil. Because everything you do, it's all going to be good or evil. Because that's the whole point of life. So everything, after you boil it down, it all is either good or evil, for God or for Satan. And that's the way you have to start looking. That's the way most Midwesterns do, except for now, we're losing our way, and we are giving up with the internet and with mass media and all these things. We are falling away from the Midwestern way. Alright, so moving on. This week they went after, okay, we don't want to look into that too much. That's very bad things that Biden did, and we all know about. Alright, so men have been trained by women to show affection, to worship women. Very important. Worship women. Which, after you boil it down, is worshiping Satan. Not because of the women, but because you worship a woman, you're not worshiping God, you're worshiping evil. Make them feel special, but only with consent. Meanwhile, women throw themselves on men, hug and kiss men without permission, sexually assault them, and even rape men and young boys. Even Christians join in on this double standard, in which every man is a suspected racist or child molester. At a recent men's forum at my nonprofit Bond, it's a great organization that he does, a home contractor said he wears a camera on himself all day to prevent being accused. How sad we've gotten. The city of Chicago recently elected a black lesbian for mayor. She's pretending she will end the corruption in the city, but we all know how that turned out. she went way worse. There are homosexuals who are stuck in that lifestyle but know it's wrong. But this new mayor-elect Lori Lightfoot is promoting wrong as right. Similarly, Pete Buttigieg, a homosexual millennial mayor of South Bend, Indiana, is trying to run for president. The corrupt liberal media love him for being shamelessly homosexual. The former mayor of Houston, Anise Parker, is a lesbian with a pretend wife. Females on the Supreme Court and Congress have conducted so-called same-sex weddings. So it just goes on and on. But Christians have lost their countries because Christians are no longer any different from the world. They believe that they can be born again of God and continue to sin. The men are controlled by women. They kiss up to women in their personal lives and in politics. The whites are afraid to tell the truth to the people of color. The Christians have anger in their hearts, playing God. There is no love in anger, but only fear, doubt, worry, and insecurity. Christian parents are sacrificing their children to corrupt schools where kids come out liberal, turning away from God. If you want your country to be right, you have to be right. As Christ said, you must become perfect as the Father in heaven is perfect. So what he's talking about there is Jesse Lee Peterson often talks about how you can be perfect. When he says they believe they can be born again of God and continue to sin, he's talking about once you get into that mindset where you are in a constant sort of prayer, you have that moral compass constantly leading you towards doing what is right, so you no longer sin. Sure, you can do certain things, like you can maybe cuss or maybe do these tiny little tit for tat things, but you are in the way of God, so you are perfect, because you won't do anything that will subjugate somebody else to Satan or yourself. And if you're born again, you are of that, because he preaches about being in a constant state of prayer, which he talks about the silent prayer, where you close your mind off to all your thoughts. He also really helped me out, exposed my thoughts to be what they were, nothing but from Satan. And good or bad, they either try to bolster you, and that leads to your downfall, or they try to make you feel terrible and lead to your downfall. And then before you know it, you're worshiping Satan. So that's huge. You are not your thoughts. And so when you do the silent prayer, you sit quietly, you see your thoughts, you acknowledge them and let them pass and everything like that. Go to his channel to learn more about this. He is a great commentator. He actually inspired me to do this. I watch a lot of him, so you'll see some of his stuff bleed over into my channel. However, I'm nowhere near to as good as him. So if you have any questions about what I'm saying, head over to Jesse Peterson, and he will be able to say what I lack in saying. So that's why he says they believe they can be born again of God and continue to sin, because there's this notion or perception that as long as you're following God and then you repent for every sin you do, you're fine. And some believe that it's with everything, which we know is wrong. But even most people think that it's even for the little things. If you just happen to sin, you can be forgiven and stuff like that, which you can, but that doesn't mean you're born again. When you're in the way of in God's way, you don't have that ambition to sin. You might sin accidentally or something like that, but it's never on purpose. It's never seeking out to do something like that. And when you believe you are not your thoughts, when these thoughts come in and tempt you, that is not sinning. That is the devil trying to get you to sin. Because the devil will always be there tempting you and trying to get you to do these things. So just because you think something does not mean you are sinning. All it means is that the devil is at work, because you cannot conjure a thought. You cannot force yourself right now. You cannot force yourself to just think something freely. It'll be guided by something, but only the devil can conjure a thought. But if you do the silent prayer, if you're praying to God and you're in God's way, He will lead you. And once you do that, then you can just be. Then you can just go about your life and know that you're in the right way. You still have to do stuff, which is where I fall short. But you're not allowed to judge other people, so you're not allowed to judge yourself either. So when you're doing things of evil, if you haven't been born again of God, and you're doing things of evil, don't judge yourself for it. Just keep moving on. Understand that God will help you correct these things as time goes on. So anyways, after wrapping all that up, was there one last word? No. But this is sort of an intro into what my channel will be. Maybe not. I'm going to be funnier. I'm going to be funnier, but I think this intro is very important to sort of know what you're going to get. And I'm sure there are plenty of pushback to what I've said already. And I look forward to hearing it. I want to hear it and start the discussion. But mostly, if you're a Midwesterner, which most of us are, we need to stop taking on the thoughts of the coasts, because the way we live is different. We live in the same country, but we hold our own ideals, and we need to hold on to those and help each other hold on to those. And so that's what the Midwestern perspective is. And I hope I hear more from you guys, and I'm looking forward to this. I've always wanted to do this, and here we are doing it. So let's hear from you, please.